Hi everyone, it's Lynn Dion from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I've got a really sweet, fun Valentine card to show you. We're going to create a square card today, and we're going to be doing lots of layering, but some really simple coloring. So let's get started by taking a quick look at our focal image. And this is the image, and this is called the Valentine Mail. And you can see that it's got that square shape with some wording all around it. We're going to be stamping the entire thing, but we're only going to be die cutting the center out of this. We'll be using a circle die to do that. But let's get started by placing some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock in the Mini MISTI, and I've used some Versafine Onyx black ink to do the stamping. And I'll use my Stampendable stamp press tool to press that out. So to die cut a circle from this panel, we're going to use the circle double stitch dies. I'm going to use that 5th largest one, and we'll just place that in the center. I want to try to capture that mailbox and that little bird, and then maybe a few of the flowers down at the bottom. So I'll tape that in place with some post-it tape. That's just a temporary tape, and I'll run that through my Spellbinders Platinum Scout machine. That's going to leave a pretty stitch border around the edges. So now all we have to do is color in this small circular panel. I started off with the sugared almond pink on the cheeks of the little birds, and then I switched over to the aquamarine blue and the cobalt blue, just to give a little bit of shadowing there. So this is some really simple and easy coloring. This goes really quickly, and since we've really just narrowed it down to this small little circle in the center, we don't have a lot of coloring to do. I am keeping the indexing for the stamp next to me so that I can see exactly what I'm coloring, because once I cut that out, it was a little harder to tell. So if you can keep that out next to you, it makes it a lot easier to do your coloring. And for the hearts and the letters, the envelopes, I'm going to use many shades of pinks and reds. And again, those will be listed in the left-hand corner as we're going along. And I'll also have all of those colors listed on my blog as well. So I am using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens to do my coloring, and I'm using the Zig Blender pen to blend these out. So let's switch over to a wine red, and again I'm going to keep all those envelopes pretty much in pinks and reds. I will add a little bit of blue to one of those. And we're going to be adding this beautiful heart doily to this card, and we're going to add another circle behind this one. So we're going to have lots of layering, and we'll also use some 3D foam squares to pop everything up. So it's going to have a lot of dimension with this simple design in the center. I'm going to go back to that same blue that I used on the bird and do this envelope. And you see that only one of the little letters has the word Valentine on it. So if you didn't want to use this as a Valentine card, you could always mask off that little section of that envelope or just paste something over top of it. So you could use this for a birthday card or a thinking of you card, whatever you like. So I like to change up my stamps, the way that I look at them, the way that I use them. Like in this case, we're taking that square design and creating a circle card. So it's kind of fun to just, mix and match your pieces together. Now, I will probably use this as a Valentine card, although I am leaving the inside blank so that I can do whatever I like with it when I'm done. Now, do keep in mind that all of the products I'm using today are listed and linked down below and also on my blog. And if you do use those links, I do receive a small commission at no additional cost to you, and I really do appreciate it because it does help to support my channel. So let's switch over to light green and do some of the foliage, and I will switch to some other greens to do that grassy area. Now I am going to pop on a little bit of music. I've got a couple more minutes of coloring, and then I'll meet you on the other side. So now that all of the coloring is done, let's go back. Now we had that circle we used to cut this piece out. I'm going to go the next size larger, so that'd be the 4th largest circle die. And I'm grabbing some really pretty raspberry paper from Lawn Fawn. This is a 100-pound cardstock, so this will give us some nice support behind this image. And I'm going to run that through, and again it'll have that same pretty stitch border. So next, let's take this Doily Hearts die from Lawn Fawn. This is brand new, and it's so pretty. It's going to give a really delicate look. And then I'll use the Lawn Fawn Ballet Slippers cardstock. Again, another 100-pound cardstock. And we'll run that through the Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine. This is going to have lots of detail. It's just really pretty. And then with the picked raspberry Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink, I'm going to add a little bit of that color all around the edges, and I'm just using a small blending brush to do that. So once that was done, let's go ahead and pop up these layers. So I've got some small foam squares. These are the 3D foam squares from scrapbook.com. I'm going to put those on both of these circles, and then I'm just using my Cricut weeding tool to remove the backing. And I'll center that on the doily, and then we'll center this one right in the middle. So once we have that done, let's go ahead and create the card base. So I've got some Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, and this measures 4.5 inches by 9 inches. And I'm going to score it at 4.5 inches. So we'll have a square card. You do want to keep in mind that when you mail these square cards, it does cost a little bit more. So you do want to check on the postage when you send those out. And then I cut another panel at 4.5 by 4.5. We're going to be stamping on that panel the bold prints script from Hero Arts. I do need to remove that foam pad from my MISTI because we have this thick rubber stamp. So I want to make sure that it stamps out nicely. And then I'm going to place this cardstock on my MISTI. I'm moving it in towards the center a little bit so that I have plenty of room for my stamp. I'll line that stamp up nice and straight right along the edge of my MISTI so that I can be sure my text is perfectly straight. And then we can go ahead and stamp this. I'm going back to that same Distress Oxide picked raspberry ink, and I'm going to ink this up. So let's go ahead and do that. And what's nice is if you place this stamp in your MISTI, you can stamp it a couple of times if you need to. So you can ink it lightly at first and stamp it, see if you like it, or you can go a little bit darker. So it's up to you. Sometimes these backgrounds look really nice if you just do a really light stamping. But I did want it to show up fairly well, so I inked it up well, and I'm going to press that out with my Stampendable stamp press. And I really like how that looks. You could also do this in like a light gray or a beige color if you want it to just be in the background. And then I'm going to take that picked raspberry again and go all around the edges just to kind of define that and create a nice little frame around everything. Let's go back to that picked raspberry. I'm placing a little bit on my glass media mat. I'm spritzing that with a little bit of water, and I've got a small number 0 paintbrush, and I'm going to spatter the entire panel. That'll just bring everything together, just adds a little bit more interest. And then what we're also going to do is spatter this again, and we're going to add a little bit of sparkle to the background. So I'm going to grab that Wink of Stella glitter pen in the clear. I'll let that dry first, and then I'll come in with the clear. I'm going to squeeze a little bit onto my glass media mat. I'll also spritz that with a little bit of water, and then we'll spatter some sparkle onto the background. So let's set that aside to dry again. Now this is the Lawn Fawn Trimmings. This is a brand new twine color. This is called Dusty Rose, and it's so pretty. And we're going to wrap that around this square panel a few times. I'm going to wrap it around about 3 times, and then we'll tie a little bow. I've got some Tombow mono double-sided tape. going to place that on the back just to hold it in place as I wrap it around, and I'm just placing it on the center of the card. Our bow will be off to the right hand side. So let's go ahead and wrap that around, and we'll tie the bow. First I'm just going to tie a little bit of a knot, and then I'll grab my reverse tweezers. We'll just clamp that down. That'll hold it in place while I finish tying the bow. I'm just checking there to see exactly where I want that to be. And then I'll just fuss with that bow, just making it a little bit smaller. And then once I like how that looks, I'm just going to snip off those ends. And this twine is really easy to work with. It's really pretty, and like I say, there's some new colors, and this is one of the brand new colors. So I've got some double-sided tape. This is from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to place that all around the back of this. Now you could certainly pop up this panel as well, but I thought with the 3 other layers being popped up that I would lay this one nice and flat. I do want to put some tape right over that twine just to make sure it doesn't move around. And then I'm going back to that Cricut weeding tool, and I'll remove the backing. Let's attach this right to the front of the card, and it's the exact same size. I'm just lining it up corner to corner. And then here's where we'll add another layer of those 3D foam squares. And these are really easy to use. I like these little squares. I don't have to cut anything up. I can just pop those on. And you can see how easy it is to remove that backing. So let's center this on the card, and I didn't put any of those little squares along the area where that twine is, so that this will sit nice and flat on our card. And here's where I'll take a little dot of that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'll place it behind the knot on the bow. And this is a great way to just kind of lock that bow in position. So I'll clamp that down and let that dry. And then going back to that Wink of Stella clear glitter pen, I'll add a little bit of glitter to the 2 hearts on those envelopes. And don't forget, we have that pretty sparkle in the background, so this will tie everything together. And then I added a little bit to those pink flowers as well. Now for a little bit of bling, I'm going to the Pinkfresh Studio Gems. These are the clear drops. These are the iridescent drops, and these are just so pretty. It will pick up some of the colors in the background, some of the pinks. So it's really nice and adds a lot of sparkle, and I think just adds that little elegant touch to this really simple card. So if you have a lot of Valentine cards to make, I think this one is pretty easy because the coloring is so quick and simple. There's not a lot to it. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. Thanks so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.